Spending 14 hours tending a fire only to slice into a dry, tough brisket is a specialized kind of heartbreak. Compare that to a slab of meat pulling apart with zero resistance, dripping with rendered fat and showing a perfect deep red smoke ring. That gap between a ruinous cook and a perfect one is usually caused by heat retention. Most standard smokers are essentially radiators. They bleed thermal energy into the air the moment the wind kicks up. In this 3D thermodynamic cross-section of a thin-walled smoker, bright red heat vectors escape through the metal into cold air. As heat escapes, a central temperature gauge drops wildly, forcing you to fight the weather by manually adjusting vents and adding fuel. You can pay for thermal stability in 3 ways: with your own physical labor, through digital automation, or by investing in heavy-duty physical insulation. Professional quality barbecue requires an engineering solution that matches your local climate and how much time you're willing to spend at the air dampers. If you have a busy schedule and want to optimize your weekends, digital automation is the most common entry point. These systems replace manual fire tending with motorized fans and Wi-Fi-connected thermostats that monitor the pit for you. This setup allows you to put a brisket on at midnight and sleep through the night, while the machine makes its own micro-adjustments to the airflow. A common problem with electric cabinets is that adding wood chips usually requires opening the main door. External side loaders like the one on the Masterbuilt solve this by keeping the internal heat seal intact while you refresh the smoke. However, placing digital panels and circuitry on a thin-walled cabinet creates a dependency on electronics that have to survive the rain, snow, and extreme heat. This scorecard shows how digital smokers stack up. You get high convenience but low thermal mass. That mass drops even further if you choose a model with a viewing window, like the East Oak, which replaces insulated steel with glass. As the R-value bar on the chart shows, glass is significantly less efficient at resisting heat flow than insulated metal. You are effectively trading some of the cabinet's thermal efficiency for the ability to see the meat. Automation provides a low barrier to entry, but your cook becomes reliant on the software's ability to survive the elements. Purist pitmasters and competition teams often move away from digital controls entirely, relying instead on high-mass charcoal units like the Weber Smoky Mountain. This philosophy relies on physical mass and thermodynamics rather than software to maintain a steady environment. By placing a deep porcelain water pan directly above the burning charcoal, you create a cooking chamber that is both highly humid and thermally stable. This diagram illustrates the thermal battery effect. The boiling water absorbs the initial red heat waves from the coals and releases them slowly, anchoring the upper chamber at a consistent temperature. That high humidity, shown by these circulating blue particles, prevents the meat's surface from drying out too quickly, which is why this method produces such a distinct bark and smoke ring. The trade-off is the labor. You have to manually adjust air dampers, manage the coal bed, and clear out ash throughout the entire cook. For a beginner, firecraft can be difficult to master, especially when trying to account for shifts in wind direction or humidity. This path sacrifices convenience and sleep to ensure a flavor profile that only traditional charcoal and water pan stabilization can provide. In sub-freezing temperatures or high winds, standard thin-walled and uninsulated smokers often fail to reach and maintain their target cooking temperature. The industrial solution is brute force insulation. The Smoke & Text 1400 Pro uses commercial-grade 304 stainless steel with double-walled construction to create a total thermal lock. Because the insulation is so dense, the internal temperature stays rock solid regardless of whether there's a blizzard or a heat wave outside the cabinet. This cross-section shows the heat and moisture completely trapped. Because zero heat vectors are escaping the thick walls, the machine doesn't have to cycle the heating element as aggressively. Keeping that moisture locked in has a direct impact on the meat. This graph compares weight retention. The double-wall unit loses significantly less volume over a 16-hour cook than a standard smoker. The trade-off here is the cost and the purely utilitarian, boxy design. You won't find apps, digital readouts, or the ritual of firecraft. It is a tool designed for one specific job: absolute temperature reliability. This is a long-term investment for those who want to set their temperature once and walk away, knowing the weather can't ruin the meal. Investing in a heavy-duty smoker changes the way you entertain. It turns a 14-hour gamble into a predictable part of the weekend. There isn't a single best smoker, but there is a specific piece of hardware that will remove the friction you face in your backyard. This decision tree helps you narrow down the engineering that fits your lifestyle. It starts with your primary priority: authentic craft, effortless automation, or extreme weather resilience. If you want the traditional experience and competition-level flavor, choose high-mass charcoal units like the Weber Smoky Mountain. If you value sleep and convenience over everything else, the digital and analog electrics from Masterbuilt and East Oak are the answer. And if you live in a harsh climate and need zero intervention, the commercial-grade insulation of the Smoke & Tex 1400 is the most reliable option. Skip the high-tech features if you actually enjoy the ritual of fire management. But if you value your own time, don't compromise on the quality of the insulation. Check the links in the description to compare the current pricing on these 5 models and choose the right tool for your patio. A rock-solid temperature makes cooking predictable. It takes the stress out of a long cook, letting you focus on the people gathered around the table.